got it. I'll take care of it. How you doing? Let me catch this real quick. Yes, it is. It's here. Please work your way to your seats. Thumbs up. Good. James, everybody good? Everybody good? Good morning. We'll call this meeting to order. Everyone, please take your seats. Please take your seats. I now invite our National Chaplain, Rick Schneider, this morning to lead us in our invocation. Brother Snyder.
Sisters and brothers, could you all please rise and join me in prayer? As we do that, one of the things that we've been doing as of late in our FOP meetings, so I would just encourage you, if you could, just take the opportunity, put a hand on the shoulder of a sister or brother next to you, and let's truly join together in prayer here to God. As we do that, let us also take a moment to recognize all of our brave women and men who continue to serve our communities day in and day out. Just in the last 72 hours, we have had fellow officers in Minneapolis, Detroit, Adams County, Colorado, who have all been shot in the line of duty just in the last 72 hours, and they are fighting for their recovery. We would also be remiss if we didn't mention that we also have a delegate who is supposed to be standing on this floor alongside us right now, shoulder to shoulder, Officer David Stuck from Pennsylvania Lodge 7. He was supposed to be here today, however, he was ambushed and shot in the line of duty while responding to a shots fired call. Let's remember all of our sisters and brothers in our prayer, and let's go to God now. Father God, we thank you for your presence in our lives. We thank you for all of your promises as well. And just as importantly, we thank you for your peace. Father, your word tells us that you are as close as the call of your name. And where two or more are gathered in your name, you are there. So, Lord, we stand together, shoulder to shoulder, and invite you, your presence, into this conference. We ask you to make your presence known to us. May we feel it. May we see it in the actions and words of others. And may we come to a firm footing and knowledge that you are here amongst us and we can turn to you. We also thank you, Lord, for blessing our sisters and brothers, those who have gone before us that we've lost in the line of duty, those who have transitioned after retirement, and also those who have been critically injured and are fighting for their recovery now. We lift them all up to you. We put our faith and trust that you have them in the palm of your hand. And Father, we thank you for that now. Continue to bless this order, bless the leadership of this order, and bless all those delegates who stand here representing all of our officers across this nation. We put our faith and our trust in you, and I pray now in the name of the Prince of Peace. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for the presentation of colors by Multi-Agency Color Guard representing Las Vegas Metro Police Department, North Las Vegas Police Department, Clark County School District Police Department, Henderson Police Department, Nevada Department of Corrections, Transportation Safety Administration, and Emerald Society. Sherry Musket and her husband, Dr. Herb Musket, who was a decorated 101-year-old World War II veteran, were hurt March 1st of this year when a robbery suspect who was involved in a high-speed chase with officers crashed into their car. Days later, Dr. Muskin succumbed to his injuries. Dr. Muskin was a very generous man here in the Las Vegas area who opened dental practices in lower-income communities to service those who needed it. The Muskin families are victims of violent crime, and they're here today so that we could show our support. I now ask Sherry Muskin to lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance. She is accompanied by her sons, John and Drew.
on, say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We did it. Okay. Thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor.
We will now have the national anthem sung by the Del Sol Academy of Performing Arts High School with sign language provided by Lieutenant Virginia Fetter with Gallaudet University Department of Public Safety. Let me get him in a second. How amazing was that? Let's give one more round of applause. Thank you. Brothers and sisters, please be seated. The very freedoms that we as Americans enjoy are often taken for granted. Yet we know that freedom is not free. Our freedom was bought and paid for by the men and women of our United States military, many who gave their lives in honor of a grateful nation. If you have served or are presently serving in the United States military, would you please stand now and be recognized by your peers? Thank you to each and every one of you. Brothers and sisters, before we start our conference, let's reflect on those we've lost during these devastating times. We all know and hold someone very dear to us that has passed since our last conference. Our national leadership is no exception. While each of our loved ones deserves to be recognized here today, it is difficult to list them all with any accuracy. For this reason, I recognize those who are active and past National Executive Board members and active members of committees. Past President Richard Boyd from Oklahoma. Past President Gilbert Gallegos from New Mexico. Past National Chairman of Trustees William Peacock from Georgia. Past National Chairman of Trustees Ken Gorman from Kansas. And National Election Committee member Bob Bakey from Illinois. I ask everyone to please rise for a moment of silence in honor of our departed brothers. Thank you. Brothers and sisters, I'm honored to stand before so many of America's finest all gathered in one single room. Each of you stood up and show up in communities across this great nation every minute of every day without fail and without hesitation. You're all here because you answered a higher calling of public service. You didn't sign up for the minimal pay that often requires overtime and extra duty pay to pay your bills, working holidays and night shifts that take you away from your families, or the second jobs that are necessary after retirement to make ends meet. You didn't sign up for the physical and emotional scars that often comes with experiencing the very worst in humanity. There has never been a more dangerous or uncertain time for our profession, and still, there's a group of heroic men and women who each of you who suit up every day and make a difference and have made a choice to stand on that line between good and evil. Conversely, there's never been a better time as an FOP leader to make a meaningful difference in the lives of those we serve. It is a servant heart that pulled us all to this profession, a desire to help others, a sense of community, and a commitment to make a difference. The past 4 years have been a never-ending, ever-changing challenge for our profession, and it's tested each of us to our core. Yet, as an organization, we stand stronger than ever before. As we begin the 66th Biennial Fraternal Order of Police Conference, I could not be prouder of the hard work and dedication of our members, our leadership team, and our staff. I can't wait to share with you the milestones and successes of the National Fraternal Order of Police and our accomplishments in these unprecedented times. Together, let's commit ourselves to meeting the needs of this great order, working towards common goals, and explore and chart new courses, while at the same time enjoying the fellowship and friendship of our brothers and sisters from across this country. A lot of work goes into hosting a meeting of this size. Having hosted 2 national conferences in my home state, I know firsthand the hard work and dedication required of a small army to invite 6,000 of your closest friends over for a week. The Nevada State Lodge has planned for this meeting for 4 years now, and I am certain that our brothers and sisters in Nevada have had their hands full preparing for our arrival. But I also know of the dedication of the members here in Nevada. I would like to thank our conference chairman, Tommy McCleary, and his wife, Debbie, State President David Moody, Gil Cartinas, Glenn Carpenter, Alex Cuevas, and all of their members for the work that they're doing to hosting us here in this city. It is now my honor to recognize the Nevada State President David Moody to give remarks and assist me in introducing our guests this morning. Thank you. Brother Moody.
Thank you, and welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada. Hopefully you're all settled in and ready to conduct our business. I want to thank, again, the committee that was here. Lodge 1 is the official host of this conference, but we couldn't have done it without everybody that's helped as volunteers, whether it be spouses or actual delegate members that are present here today. And of course, I have to acknowledge one person that's kept me grounded for the last 4 years, and that's my wife, Jan Moody, who's sitting out there in the audience. And during this week, if you have any issues, please reach out to any of our people that are sitting over at the Nevada stanchion, and hopefully we can square away your issues that you might have, and we try to put them fires out and keep them to the minimal. We also like to thank the Event Dojo people that have helped coordinate all this with the MGM and the Convention Center. And as most of you probably know that have been around a while, this is the first time we've been, as far back as I can remember, under one roof. So socialize with each other like you're meant to do, and be at the meetings, and let's get this business going. I want to thank you all for being here. At this time, we're going to have some guest speakers, and if it'll pop up on the screen there, there we go. The first speaker will be Gary Schofield. He is a U.S. Marshal with the District of Nevada and a very good friend who I've worked with on Las Vegas Metro for quite a few years as well. So, Gary Schofield.
Good morning, and on behalf of the great state of Nevada, welcome to Nevada. Thank you, President Yos and your board, for the honor of greeting you in our state. Thank you all for visiting and coming to Las Vegas. What goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. Thank you to the Nevada Grand Lodge, David Moody and his board, and my longtime friend Tony McCleary. I know Tony doesn't like this, but I do think that he needs to stand, because I used to be his boss, and take another round of applause for all the work that he's done. Thank you all for joining us here in Las Vegas, a city of entertainment that is the host to over 43 million visitors a year. It is the home of the Stanley Cup winners, the Vegas Golden Knights. The host for the next Super Bowl, go Raiders. And we will be the host for the F1 race here in November that will bring to this city over 100,000 attendees and bring in a revenue of $1.3 billion. You're seeing the work that's being done on that if you try to drive down Las Vegas Boulevard, is they convert a major street into a raceway so vehicles can drive it at 200 miles an hour. But let's move on to why we're all here. In 1915, Officers Toole and Nagel launched the FOP in Pittsburgh. Today in 2023, the FOP is the world's largest organization of sworn law enforcement officers with more than 364,000 members and 2,200 lodges. The FOP mission statement begins with to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. In 1789, the first law enacted under the authority of the U.S. Constitution was the Judiciary Act of 1789 that put in place the U.S. Marshals. So we all share a common duty to protect, defend, and enforce the American justice system. The FOP and the auxiliaries are the gold standard for selfless service. I know this firsthand. It was on full display this month in May at the National Police Officers Memorial in Washington, sponsored by the Grand Lodge of the Fraternal Order of Police. It was my distinct honor to escort Kim Gonzalez, the widow of one of my deputies, Jose Gonzalez, as she and her family placed the rose at the memorial wreath to honor him at the ceremony put together by so many dedicated workers of the FOP. I want to thank President Yost and the FOP team for the honors and respect given to Jose and all the families of the fallen. As we meet here this morning, though, we need to point ourselves to a tragedy that is unfolding in the island of Hawaii and our brothers and sisters that are responding there. The loss of life is approaching now, over 100. The destruction is hard to comprehend. We send our prayers out to those that lost their lives. And Las Vegas has a special bond to Hawaii because we are known as the 9th island. There are a large number of those from Hawaii that live and work here. The Chief of Police, John Pelletier in Maui, is from Las Vegas. He is a former captain at the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. The Chief of Police in Kauai is Todd Raybuck. He also is a former member of the Metropolitan Police Department like myself. And we all served through my 32-year career there. I talked to both over the last couple of days. And John told me that his officers are being helped by a lot of officers and agencies from out the country, probably from your agencies that have gone out there, to include the U.S. Marshals. He thanks you all for the backup you're providing. John wants you to know that many of his officers lost everything they had. Lost their homes, lost family members, and are in the process of recovering the remains of loved ones that are in that city. Their work has not stopped since the tragedy started. They reflect law enforcement professionalism's work out there, doing the work every day, regardless of the negative headwinds we face. I asked John what he would ask of this group as they try to rebuild their community, and responded donations to the Maui Police Foundation or the Maui Strong Foundation, which would go directly to assisting his officers as they go about their duties over the next couple months and into the years to come. He thanks you again, and I thank you all for all you do. Welcome to Las Vegas. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you again. Our next guest speaker is our Assistant Chief Michael Harris from North Las Vegas Police Department. Michael.
I'm not so nervous that I'm going to forget to speak, so I just had to button my shirt. All right, here we go. Good morning, and let me be one of the many people who welcomed you to Las Vegas, the West Coast city that never sleeps. I'm Michael Harris. I'm the Assistant Chief of Police for the City of North Las Vegas Police Department, and I'd like to begin by saying thank you to the Fraternal Order of Police and to you for allowing me to speak at this 66th National Biennial Conference. I've never spoken before a crowd of this size, and I have to admit, I'm just a little bit intimidated. I'm not going to lie to you. So to kind of fix that, I contacted a friend of mine who's a little bit better at public speaking than I am. And I asked him a question. I says, man, how do you deal with these sorts of things? How do you deal with these large crowds? He says, first of all, you have to identify the crowd that you're speaking in front of. I said, well, it's going to be a bunch of cops. He says, cops are easy. You just have to remember the 5 B's. I said, the 5 B's? What are the 5 B's? He says, be brief, brother, be brief. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. So, you know, it's odd how things somehow come full circle. 24 years ago, I used to work valet as a valet attendant here at the MGM Grand prior to entering my law enforcement career. I remember just before leaving the MGM having a contentious interaction with a hotel guest, and I remember saying to myself, let me see you again when I'm a cop, because this is going to be on then. And thank goodness that never happened. But I can tell you that I quickly recognized after indulging or in becoming a law enforcement officer that law enforcement is very similar to the Marine Corps, in that my newfound colleagues were not just co-workers, they became my family. And my family just wasn't in the city of North Las Vegas. This family spread across this entire country, the entire United States. And so I would like to ask that we consider this event as a family reunion. And I would ask you to please look to your left and to your right, extend a hand, and say hello to your brothers and sisters.
Hello, brother.
Hello, brother. All right. I feel better now. I'm about to start pop locking up here. I'm ready to start moving. So, one thing about family is we come together in times of triumph and in times of tragedy. The Fraternal Order of Police has assumed the patriarchal and matriarchal duties of our law enforcement family for the last 108 years. The FOP, as its mission, has strived to improve the individual and collective proficiency of its members in the performance of their duties. Since 1915, the FOP has been the voice of law enforcement. This organization has led the fight against the dark forces that seek to demonize our noble profession, and for that, we thank you. So when I was asked to speak at this event, I asked for confirmation of a topic. You know, considering the venue, I knew that it should be law enforcement related, but I just wasn't quite sure of what it all was that you wanted to hear. So I was given a little bit of free rein, and I decided to treat it like one of my old college papers. I just winged it. So I decided to challenge you all with a basic but fundamental question, and that is, what is your why? Why do you choose this noble and honorable profession? Why are you willing to run toward gunfire or into a burning building without a fire retardant suit or a self-contained breathing apparatus? Why are you willing to leave your family when the phone rings in the middle of the night without the guarantee that you're going to return home safely? You all are a special group of hand-picked people chosen by God Himself to do the things that the vast majority of society will not do. Yet that same majority of society is quick to judge your actions while resting comfortably behind the blanket of safety and security that you provide. You put your lives on the line every day, selflessly committing yourselves to protecting the lives of others. Why? Don't be demoralized, don't be distracted, and don't be debased. Know that this nation cannot survive without you. And I do have a quick question. Does anyone know how many countries have adopted a constitution? I know when we think of the Constitution, we kind of think of ours. But according to the Constitution Center, 194 out of 195 countries have a constitution in place. So what makes our governing documents so special? It's not the ink or the quill pen or the parchment paper that the Constitution is written on. Those words mean nothing if we don't have the noble men and women like yourselves to support and empower those words. Every law enforcement officer in America has put their hand up and swore to protect the Constitution. And we do so in grand fashion. Let your oath be your why. In the face of escalating crime rates and growing challenges, it is essential that you recognize the vital role you play in ensuring the safety and security of your communities, even when others don't. Let your commitment be your why. Continually remind yourselves of your why. You and 364,000 brothers and sisters are the FOP's why. If you don't have a why, get a why. If you don't like your why, change your why. But whatever you do, have a purpose for what you do, and I promise you, you'll be better for it. So like I said, I'm going to be brief. So, in closing, I would like to personally thank you all for the sacrifices that you have made for this great nation. And I would like to remind you that even the greatest warriors sometimes need a helping hand. When you suit up and march to the front of that thin blue line, know that the Fraternal Order of Police has your back. I would like to say again, thank you, and may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you again. Our next speaker, Deputy Chief Jonathan Bosher from Henderson Police Department.
Thank you. It's all good. And it's Boucher, but I don't blame him. If you think of the Waterboy movie, you got it. You got it all day long. Yeah, that came out right when I went to boot camp, by the way. So I still have some scars from that one. It looks like I got the short straw to be the closer of the openers today. So I hope I can do that some justice. I'm going to differ from Gary over here for a minute. Yes, the tagline that everything happens in Vegas stays in Vegas is much exaggerated. And the truth is that everything that happens in Vegas lives forever on video. So please be mindful of that and the eye in the sky this week as you guys enjoy your time here in our lovely city. So thank you. Furthermore, I feel strongly about this. There's an adage that I like to live by, and that is, it's similar to Mike there, is, it's probably from my military days, is that a good speech is a short speech. And that was probably because every time somebody was speaking, we were standing at attention. So I adhere to that. I'm going to stick to that adage here today. I will begin with a sincere thank you. I'm truly humbled to be here. I mean, this is just an amazing crowd, amazing venue. So I appreciate being invited to speak. And when I was invited to speak today, I wasn't exactly sure of the topic I wanted to address, but I was certain of one thing. I wanted to offer something of substance, something hopefully worth a few moments of your time here today as you begin your conference. And initially, all the pressing topics came to mind, of course: officer wellness, recruitment and retention, the push towards decriminalization and lawlessness. And as I thought about these issues in the context of the last few years, one thing became blatantly clear, and that is the time for courageous leadership in our profession has never been more imperative. So for those of you in leadership, those aspiring to lead, and the informal leaders among us, I offer you the following. Now more than ever, we must have courage in our convictions. We must be unwavering in our resolve to lead our profession in the service of all, rooted in the truth that we are called to the most noble of professions. And that besieged truth needs to be re-entrenched in the halls of our organizations. Our calling is the most noble of professions, and we need to live by that and keep repeating that to our folks, because it's been attacked in many recent years. We cannot continue to allow the demonization of our profession to go unchecked. Let me say it again. We cannot sit idly by while our officers, our staff, and our profession are unjustly attacked. Certainly, we must be honest, transparent, and accountable in our communities when we fall short, always cognizant of human fallibility and unintentional mistakes. And even more so, for those who would forsake their oath, we must be the unshakable wall that they smash against as we reaffirm our commitment to our communities to hold ourselves to the highest standards. And overall, we've done just that. We've been quickly taking action against bad actors within our ranks. But the challenge is we must show equal vigor in defense of our officers and the canons of our profession. We can no longer stand silent, allowing the critics to manipulate the narrative when our officers performed appropriately and in many instances heroically, just because of lack of knowledge and perception. I understand why many may say nothing in this environment of cancel culture. Tumultuous times are often difficult to navigate, but our decisions have consequences, even when that decision is to say or do nothing. I believe those consequences have been laid bare in many of the challenges we now face across the United States. Many officers feel unsupported by their communities, but more so, they feel unsupported by those with the duty to lead them. These results in fear, uncertainty, anxiety, which compound the complexities of police work, and I would argue are likely more detrimental to the wellness and mental health of officers than many of the traumas they face. Not to mention depolicing, which weakens support from community, which in the vast numbers across this country support our police officers. So as Theodore Roosevelt once said, it is not the critic who counts, not the person who points out how the virtuous police officer stumbles, or where they, in hindsight, closed in safety and comfort, opine how the officers could have done it better. The credit belongs to the officer who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who comes short periodically, but there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to honor their oath and serve humanity. Well, I took some liberties with Roosevelt's words, obviously, but the fundamental message remains the same. We need our officers in the arena. We need to attract a whole new generation who will do the same. And to accomplish this aim, so too must we be in the arena with them, supporting them along the way. So throughout this conference, and as you return home, I will encourage you to do the following. Be courageous, lead with integrity and character, and take care of each other. God bless you, and thank you for this opportunity.
One last thing. Again, I want to thank you all for being here, and there's one important message that I'd like to leave with you today. Our show for this evening is Ka here at the MGM. It's a Cirque du Soleil show. We still have seats available. You can get them over in front of where the expo is, next to where registration and the seminar booths are at our event package area. So if you haven't gotten a seat in the Ka show, it's going to be full of your fellow friends and FOP members. So reach out, go over there when you get the chance today and purchase your tickets. I thank you all again for attending here in Las Vegas. Thank you.
The new director of the Office of Community-Oriented Policing, also known as the COPS Office in Washington, D.C., is no stranger to the Fraternal Order of Police. Hugh Clements is a former FOP National Trustee who served 12 years on our National Board of Trustees. We urged President Biden to appoint Hugh to lead the COPS Office, and we're appreciative of the President and the Attorney General for doing so. Hugh is the kind of law enforcement leader that we want others to learn from and to emulate, and the kind of person that we need to lead the COPS Office. The COPS Office is a vital to state and local law enforcement agencies, and by extension, the safety of our communities. Hugh, welcome back to the Fraternal Order of Police. Would you please join us for welcoming our delegates?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to the Executive Board. Do outstanding work up on the Hill in D.C. Thank you to the National Trustees. I served in that seat for 12 years, and I know the real important work that's done by the National Trustees, so thank you. So, wow, Las Vegas, this is big. It's an absolute honor to be here at the 66th FOP Biennial National Conference and Expo. It's always a great conference. I'll tell you, I've come to many. I counted this morning before I left the room. This will be my 11th FOP conference. The City of Providence hosted this conference twice, once while I was on the Executive Board and the National Trustee. Yeah, I don't know how, but I think we beat out Vegas and Orlando in 2003. I'm not sure how that happened. But this is always a great conference to catch up with colleagues from all over the country. And the words before me were, I believed in every one of them, well spoken, except for one. Gary, I just met Gary. I hear great things about him, but I think he thinks just because Tom Brady went to the Raiders as part ownership that they may win a Super Bowl. I'm not so sure. Although they looked good last night in preseason. But we do all this business in the name of the Fraternal Order of Police, the largest, oldest law enforcement labor organization in the United States. And don't let that go unnoticed. This executive board, they work very hard for you up on the Hill. I see them all, every one of them, at different sessions, whether it's recruitment, retention, de-escalation bills, all the bills up at in Congress that go before the president. This president, Pat Yos, I think Pat Yos will go down as one of the greatest leaders this organization's ever had, and I don't say that lightly. And I thought so highly of so many of them, going back to Steve Young and Dick Boyd, God rest his soul, all with the continuity of this organization of the executive director, Jim Pasco. He does great work up there in the Hill. So thank you for your friendship, and thank you for the work you do up there, Jim. And this entire board, I see them all up there. Tim Richardson, Keith Turney, he does so much, and they are the strongest and loudest voices of any labor organization representing police officers in this United States. every big issue in policing, I will say the Fraternal Order of Police is front and center. When you watch the news, every major issue in this country, you will see somebody from the FOP up on the dais. And that's why you're all here. You're passionate about the men and women who do the work in the field. And in your own circles, that's the work that you do. In your states, in your local municipalities, in your lodges. I have to give a shout out to the president from the Providence FOP, who I know is here. He's a great leader. He's done some great work. He's very compassionate about the men and women in the field. And as well, the Rhode Island State President, President Donnelly, happy birthday. I know he cares passionately about this work that we all speak about. As well, the National Trustees, I know many of you, or at least some of you, may be moving on. One in particular, Peter Johnston from Rhode Island, served 12 years. I understand he's moving on. Peter, thank you for your leadership and your support of police officers the whole time I was there. So what's happening in American communities, and we've heard it from the speakers before me, it's an incredible moment. And in each of your communities, it's a microcosm of what's going on in the United States. We have very challenged, destabilized communities. We've been called upon to deal with all the social ills, homelessness, addiction, mental health, and poverty, placed right at the feet, squarely at the feet of police officers. Oftentimes without the training, certainly without the resources or the proper tools, but nonetheless, we're called out when it goes bad, no doubt about it, by a nonstop news cycle, 24/7, oftentimes rushing to get the information out before they have it complete. And we know that it's wrong. And then we as police leaders, whether it's on the chief side or on the labor side, the union side, have to go out there and do damage control on that information. And we know that the events and the stories that are wrong in policing and damaging, we know we own them. And we have to accept that in our profession, and we have to turn the image of this profession around. And that's what I'm looking to do in this new role in the cops office. And I just want to speak briefly about some of the things we're doing together, because it's so important about turning the dial and elevating the image, because I really think we can. I'd like to think I'm the eternal optimist, and I think you do too, or else you wouldn't be here. Here is an opportunity to turn things around. I know it will take some time, but we do it because we love the profession. We love the men and women who do the work in the field. And we know that behind every badge, there is a story. Why a young man or young woman chose to put the badge on and serve their community. And we know how important that is to them. And oftentimes, they're sent to a call or a mission with limited or ambiguous information, and it goes bad. So thank you for what you do in supporting the men and women. Because we know these officers are stand between good and evil, chaos and calm, under tremendous scrutiny every single day. I spent 38 years in the field, 12 on the national board, 10 on the local board. I believe passionately about the work done by this executive board, and I promise my time in the cops office in DC, I will work closely with this executive board, with the trustees, with each of the organizations, and I just want to offer a few things that we do in the cops office. So really quick, we offer a ton of technical assistance and grant opportunities to law enforcement all over the country. So the budget may sound like it's big. It's about $665 million, and it covers many different areas. Most importantly, the biggest grant we have is in the cops hiring program, which is about $225 million. I will say that the needs far outpace the funding for each of the grant opportunities that we have. In that one in particular, I think we have 711 applicants, and we will probably award about 1/3 of those. But in each of the grant opportunities, we need more money. We need more funding. There's a disconnect sometimes about funding these programs, but any help that you can give me with your local leadership is important, because all the money goes directly into the hands of the local police departments. So I'll highlight the 4 major things that we're doing in the COPS office with the Fraternal Order of Police. The first one is the Collaborative Reform Initiative Technical Assistance Center, better known as CRITAC. I know this board and Keith has worked very closely with CRITAC. It's a great organization. I know you love it, Keith. But so there are 9 major law enforcement organizations connected to the COPS office and CRITAC. The 2 biggest are the Fraternal Order of Police and IACP. And the work committed by this organization, it's work requested by the agency, so asked for by the agency, delivered by the field for the field, with subject matter experts on whatever the issue is in that community. Many of these SME subject matter experts are your people. Fraternal Order of Police members. I spoke to one recently at a conference I was at in, I think it was LA, and he's a Metro Las Vegas officer, and he wanted to get on our subject matter expert list, and we got him on, and he's a pro. But in all of this is no cost to the agency. So CRITAC is one of our big programs. Another one is we're very concerned on a national level, as you are, with officer wellness. And the grant opportunity we have is the Law Enforcement Mental Health and Wellness Act program administered by this COPS office. And I know we've had Sherry Martin from the Fraternal Order of Police. I've known Sherry a long time. She does a tremendous job in the wellness program, and she's very connected to the COPS office. Thank you for the work, FOP and Sherry. Another great program, the third one we have many, but these are the 4 biggest one, is National Blue Alert Network, proposed by the Fraternal Order of Police. Blue Alerts work similar to Amber Alerts when a police officer is severely injured or killed in a line of duty. And we put out that information locally, regionally, around the country. It's rapid dissemination of information to law enforcement agencies, to the media, to the public, to aid in that quick apprehension before that individual causes further harm to somebody in the community or somebody in a uniform. In 2015, Congress passed that act and gave the honor to the COPS office to deliver that act to the field, but the FOP was the one that pushed for that act and works very closely. It's named after, many of you may remember, I went to the funeral, 2 NYPD officers. It was right before the holidays, right before Christmas. Officers Ramos and Liu were savagely ambushed in their vehicle. The act is named after Officers Ramos and Liu. As well, recently, I signed off on the 2022 report on all the officers shot in the line of duty and killed in the line of duty. That's a program administered by the Fraternal Order of Police as well, and the numbers are staggering. I'll tell you, the year 2022 was one of the most deadly for men and women who wear the uniform or in plain clothes serving their community. And unfortunately and disappointing, the numbers in 2023 are keeping pace. This is a tough moment, and we all know that young men and women who serve their communities, they run to danger, and they need the support that they're getting from this organization. So these are just some examples that I wanted to speak about in our partnership with the FOP. I have some other ideas that I'm working on behind the scenes, all to elevate the image. I'm here for this whole conference. This organization is near and dear to me. I would love to hear your thoughts if I see you over the next couple of days, but I do have some of my own in that regard. So to the biggest and greatest labor organization, policing organization, I wish you a great conference in this great city of Vegas, and I think everything does stay in Vegas, but I hope some of you take some of the Vegas money home with you. So congratulations, have a great conference. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Hugh. And just remember, the odds are in favor of the House. Seated with us today on the dais is someone I'd like to recognize. Assistant Director of ATF, Marvin Richardson, is a longtime friend of the Fraternal Order of Police. Marvin is a 40-year law enforcement officer who started his career in Texas as a beat cop. And we appreciate the working relationship with ATF, Marvin. Thank you for joining us today. Marvin will be teaching a class today on resources that are available through ATF for officers who are investigating crimes involving firearms. I highly encourage you to sign up for that class and participate. I think you'll find an amazing value to the things that he has to teach with the passion. I think you'll definitely understand why he is the assistant director. Thank you, Marvin. Last fall, the National Fraternal Order of Police began a Corporate Advantage Alliance program to provide annual funding for our initiatives funded by the National FOP Foundation. The corporate program is comprised of several levels, with the highest level being the Tool Nagel level, which is named after our two founders of the Fraternal Order of Police. They commit to donating $150,000 or more each year to our foundation so that we may continue to provide the services we provide to our members across this country. With us today from Axon, well, one of those is Axon. Please visit their booth in the expo. With us today with Axon Corporation, we have Senior Vice President of Strategic Initiatives, Mike Wagers. Mike is responsible for managing customer partnership relations for Axon. Please join me in welcoming Mike Wagers to the microphone.
Good morning. And let me assure you, what happens in Vegas is usually captured on one of our body cameras, so please be aware of that. I will be brief. First, I just want to thank President Yost, Executive Director Jim Pasco, and the entire Executive Board for this partnership, this corporate partnership. It truly means a lot to us. And my message to everyone out there today, I am humbled and literally shaking up here on the dais. As President Yost said, looking out and seeing 6,000 of America's finest is humbling. So thank you on behalf of everyone at Axon. Please know that we support you. Please know that we know you have a tough job, especially in today's world. And please know that we try to do everything we can to build technologies that will do a better job in protecting life, which is our mission. Many of you may know that along with the National FOP and other national organizations, we're involved in a moonshot goal to reduce, look at my hand, you can see how bad it's shaking, addressing this crowd. We are involved in a moonshot goal to try to reduce gun deaths between police and the public by 50% in 10 years, hearkening back to the original moonshot goal to put a man on the moon. We thank the FOP for their partnership in this goal. And when we hear about these ambushes, when we read the FOP report about the number of officers who are shot and killed in the line of duty, that drives us. That drives us to build better technologies. And if you want to see an outcome, an effect, an innovation from that drive to do a better job at building technologies for you, please do stop by our booth. Our latest taser is nothing like any of prior taser versions. We actually skipped numbers. It went from a taser 7 to a taser 10 to denote that we've now given you 10 cartridges. We've given you 10 shots to save a life. And studying all the fatal officer-involved shootings and officers killed in the line of duty, we knew if we could take that effective rate out to beyond 30, 35 feet, we could give you better time and distance. So the new taser that you can fire in our booth is 10 shots, and it has an effective range at 45 feet. That's just one example of where we are recommitting ourselves to supporting law enforcement, to supporting the FOP, and to hopefully achieving this moonshot goal to reduce fatal officer-involved shootings and officers killed in the line of duty by 50% in the next 10 years. So let me just leave you with our overarching message. Please know we support you. We support you being in that arena, the sacrifices that you make every day to keep our community safe. We'll do what we can as a corporate partner to build technologies and better technologies so when you're out there on the street, you're able to keep yourself safe, your fellow officers safe, and community members safe. God bless you, and stay safe.
There are two additional Tool Nagel supporters. Molson Coors is one of our longest and most generous contributors to the National Fraternal Order of Police, and I have no doubt that many of you will be visiting some of their products while you're here in Vegas. They are not here today, but we certainly do appreciate their continued support. Our last speaker, FirstNet, built by AT&T, is a longtime supporter of the Fraternal Order of Police and our foundation and the things that we do in service to our members. With us today is Rich Johnson, a Public Safety Assurance Manager, and I ask him to come forward and offer a welcome to our delegates.
So good morning. We'll make it quick, pulling up the last of the crew. So first of all, thank you, Pat, Executive Director and Board, for giving us just short few moments to speak. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and more importantly, an honor to speak with all of you. Even if it is in Vegas, I'm a Western boy, so been here a couple times. Hopefully the axe on camera didn't catch me, but so back to it. We appreciate the continued support and endorsement in National FOP for FirstNet and the partnership to help us continue to improve critical communications. Many of you may not realize that AT&T is one of the largest collective bargaining organizations in the private sector, so we certainly understand the need for and appreciate a strong union workforce, specifically in law enforcement. The FOP supported the FirstNet legislation and has continued to partner with us to make sure that you all have priority communications, both on and off the job. FirstNet is available both through agency deployments and on your personal phones, because all of you know you're always on duty, always responding, and more importantly, always there to protect and serve us. Our job is to support you in the critical communications that help keep you and the communities you serve safe. Please come visit us at our booth. We'd also be happy to come to any of your local lodge meetings to make sure all the members learn about FirstNet. And you see this cute furry thing up front. That way attention was diverted to the cute furry thing. Part of what FirstNet does on behalf of public safety, we are America's public safety broadband network, but in conjunction with that is health and wellness, and we have a health and wellness coalition, and part of that health and wellness coalition is a program we call Rog the Dog, and you see in front of you, so aptly named, Raider. That's the dog, not the handler. He's here for you to come and visit and pet. He loves pets. More importantly, we have over 30 of these across the nation on standby if anyone ever needs a support animal, whether it's through a PSAP, through an IC, a CP, or just around a station, all at no cost to the agency. That's the kind of partner we are. So with that, please come visit us at our booth again. We'll talk through, and more importantly, enjoy your time in Vegas and have a great conference. Thank you.